walk you through how we might actually do this. How do we create motivation for change in parents who are really struggling, really overwhelmed? And I love this picture of this little guy, because think about what life might be for his parents, and think about what life might be for him. I wonder, have they thought about how insurmountable losing both legs or being born without both legs might have been? And yet look at him. He's beaming and happy and clearly growing and clearly living and doing the things that keep him with that big smile on his face. So how do we create motivation for change when things may seem insurmountable? Okay. We start, and I'm going to try and imagine and have you imagine that, you're just about to start working with a parent, and you would like for them to learn some things that are more effective strategies for working with their child. Okay? And if this might be useful thinking about it this way. So the first step that you would do is help parents see what works and what doesn't. Okay? Specifically, how does avoiding discomfort work? Now, from an ACT perspective, it's not really useful to kind of say, see, this works for you. Clearly this works for you. Do you not see that? Or this doesn't work. Okay? I don't know about you guys, but I'm not the type of person that likes to be told what to do. I was always the type of kid that needed to see it for myself. And lo and behold, a lot of parents are too. A lot of us are. Okay? So helping parents really connect with how things are working is important. And we'll talk a little bit about how to do that. Okay? So step one, helping parents see what works and what doesn't, how it works and how it doesn't work. And then step two, helping parents choose a meaningful and valued direction in which to move, okay? By helping them connect with what truly matters to them. How do you do this, you say? Next slide. Well, you keep calm and you do ABA. No kidding. ACT is strongly linked to applied behavioral analysis. It's all about helping parents notice the function of their behavior. Okay? And there's a very simple tool that was developed by an ACT trainer named Kevin Polk, who is in Maine, who's worked with scores of clients of all types, including parents. And he calls it the matrix. Okay? This is the tool that we use to help parents contact and get, without telling them necessarily, the function of their behavior. Okay? At its heart, ACT can be really simplified down to teaching two discriminations. If you look at the top and the bottom of this picture of the matrix, you see 5 senses experiencing and mental experiencing. I'm going to explain it, and then I'm going to show you how I might walk a parent through it really simply. Okay? 5 senses experiencing means focusing your attention on your present moment experience. Mental experiences means getting stuck or lost in your thoughts. Okay? So I'm going to show you how I might teach a parent how to do this. I might say, I have this tool I want to show you. It's called the matrix. And we use this in the psychological flexibility approach. Are you willing to let me show you what this is? Once you get a yes from a parent, you're shaping engagement. Great, thank you. Reinforce. Okay. If you have one, go ahead and pick up a pen. And what I want you to do is hold that pen, touch it, see how it feels to you. Notice the color. Okay. I want you to see if that pen makes any noise. Mine makes a banging noise. Clicking. Got it. Okay, great. We've noticed the color, so we've seen how it looks. Does it smell? Not too much, no. But I'm noticing how it smells, okay? You could have the parents even taste it to get the sense of taste. Okay. Got it? Great. Now what I want you to do is close your eyes and put that pen outside of your awareness. Have parents do that. Now I want you to think about that pen and notice everything that you noticed about that pen. Got it. That's the difference. That's the discrimination. It's as simple as that. Am I in the present moment noticing what's going on, or am I in my thoughts? And am I able to notice the difference? That's discrimination 1. If you look at the horizontal axis, we have towards and away. Towards are things that we move towards in our lives. For me, I like to move towards things like spending more time with my family. I also like to move towards chocolate chip cookies. Anything you want to move towards. Away are things that we move away from in our lives. For example, I like to stay away from feeling anxious. I don't love that sensation. It's unpleasant for me. Okay? Noticing the difference. Am I moving towards and am I moving away? Now, that's enough to get you started on the matrix. But what I'm going to do to further show you how this might actually work and be a useful clinical tool for you is I'm going to walk you through a case example. Okay? This is not a real person, but she's made up from different people, clients, families, friends that I have known, and you may have also been in contact with. So I want you to imagine a 37-year-old woman. She's married. She has 3 children, and her middle child is 12, her daughter. And she has autism. She has an older brother who is 15. He's standing in the background. And the mom worries a lot about him because she's getting reports from the school that he's sometimes truant and his grades are very variable. And occasionally he gets into altercations with other kids, whether they're verbal. They haven't escalated to physical yet, but there's definitely some issues there. She also has a younger daughter who often provokes her middle daughter inadvertently. And her middle daughter, who is on the spectrum, can occasionally really, really get upset about this and get engaged in hitting her and things like that. So on top of this family situation, both parents have to work. Mom is the primary caregiver and the primary deliverer of whatever coaching is and intervention is supposed to be given to this little girl. She's also in charge of taking her to all her appointments, OT, PT, speech, language, talking to the school. Her husband doesn't feel so good at that, so she's the one that goes to all of the IEP meetings. All of these sorts of things. She's exhausted. She feels embarrassed about reaching out to other families or other friends who have typically developing children. She feels somewhat isolated. She feels embarrassed sometimes when her daughter acts up in public. And she's tired. Okay? So she has a story about herself that she is not enough to do all of the things that are required for her. So how does not enough and having that thought work for her? How does it organize her behavior? Well, one way is she might have thoughts like this. Why bother? I can't handle it. This speaks to when in the presence of an aversive stimulus, you experience a limited behavioral repertoire. Why bother? I can't. I just can't do it. How about this one? I lost my keys again. I'm so not in the present moment and not aware of what's going on around me. I'm constantly stuck in my mind and in my thoughts. I'm on autopilot. I constantly lose my keys. This happens to me all the time, incidentally. But for this mom, it's part of life as well. I'm in this all alone. It's all up to me. Might be another thought that she has that she wants to get away from. And notice how that works for her. She may, because she feels isolated and therefore may continue to engage in isolating herself by avoiding others and avoiding scrutiny by others or judgments of others. She might have the lack of contact with social reinforcers. And I think a lot of parents, especially this mom, feel like they're just putting out fires and letting everything else go. So all they're doing is the bare essentials that they have to do. Everything else falls away. Self-care, enjoyment, entertainment. And this is what we see in families raising children with autism. There's not a lot of joint family time. There's not a lot of things going on beyond the things that they must do or that they feel that they must do in the moment. Okay? So even if you have never done ACT before, I think it's really important to do a little bit of perspective taking and understanding the context in which you're trying to implement a behavioral program. Because a good behavior therapist understands and works on understanding all of these variables that can organize behavior. So next slide. So how I might work with this mom is I would bring her the matrix and I would say, describe some things that you want to move away from. I'm going to go back a slide, back to the not enough slide. And these might be some of the things that we write down on the matrix, next slide, on the lower left quadrant. These are things in our minds, or these are things in her minds that she's striving to move away from. Okay, all of these thoughts. Now, on the top left quadrant, I might say to her, well, what are some things you do to make these thoughts go away? Or to not think about these things, or to make those things, or to move away from those things? And she might say, well, I just put out fires, or I don't know, there's really nothing. Giving up might be something. Not taking phone calls might be another thing. Missing appointments. Not engaging in her parent training. All of these things. And I would mark them down in the upper left quadrant, in the away section. Now, they're on the top, the upper side, because they're things that she does. They're not things that she thinks. They're actually behaviors that are observable, okay? Sometimes folks put things up there like drinking, which is a way of avoiding things. Or in this case of marital conflict, the silent treatment, okay? Things like that. The next thing I would do is I would ask her, are those things effective at making those thoughts and feelings go away? Typically what people say is, yeah, they are. Well, for a short time. Well, what else can I do? Right? And so you just draw their attention to, so they work in the short term. How do they work in the long term? Are they gone for good? And if the answer is no, I just say, okay. Interesting. Okay. So we're noticing that they work in part, they don't work all the way. And what I do is I draw little arrows from the bottom left quadrant to the top. So I'll draw a line connecting the thought to be avoided to the behavior used to avoid the thought. And then I'll draw a line back down because it's sort of a circular process. Okay? And what we see is being stuck. Spending a lot of time working at managing negative thoughts and feelings in such a way where we're not really doing anything to move towards the things that we care about. And that leads us to the next part of our intervention.